I know one thing about you that you hide even from those closest to you. You appear confident and independent to everyone. But inside, you desperately need recognition. You often doubt yourself, did I make the right choice? Your potential is enormous, but you still have not realized even half of it. Did you recognize yourself? Congratulations! You just fell for the hook on which the empires of fortune tellers, astrologers, and billion-dollar marketing funnels are held. Before we begin, I want to conduct an experiment on you. Now a text will appear on the screen. This is a psychological portrait based on an analysis of the behavior of modern social media users. Read it carefully and rate it from 1 to 5. You have a great need for other people to like and admire you. You have a tendency to be critical of yourself. You have a great deal of unused capacity. While you have some personality weaknesses, you are generally able to compensate for them. So how many points? 4, 5. Do you feel like I looked straight into your soul? And now, a cold shower. This text has nothing to do with social networks or analyzing your data. In 1948, Professor Bertram Forer gave this identical text to his students. The average match score was 4.3 out of 5. This phenomenon is called the Barnum effect. Our brain is ready to accept any general phrase as a sacred revelation. Fates are built on this, from ancient diviners to coaches who see through you for $100,000 per consultation. Today, we will take this mechanism apart by the screws. You will find out why smart people believe in retrograde Mercury, how brands make you buy things created specifically for you, and how to use the magic of general phrases to win over any interlocutor. My channel is called the Cryptic Cognition, and today I will teach you to see manipulation where you previously saw magic. Let's go. Let's go back to 1948. Psychology is at the peak of fashion. Everyone is obsessed with personality tests. Professor Bertram Forer enters the classroom and suggests that the students take a complex test. The students puff over the questions. A week later, Forer returns. He gives each a sealed envelope with an individual characteristic. He asks, guys, who thinks I hit the mark? There is a forest of hands in the audience. Students are in shock. You were like living in my head. Forer asked to rate the accuracy on a 5-point scale. The average result was 4.26, almost a perfect hit. But then he ordered them to exchange papers. A dead silence hung in the audience. The students found that everyone had the same text written. Forer just took a column of horoscopes from a newspaper. A few years later, Paul Meehl renamed this phenomenon the Barnum effect, in honor of the greatest showman of the 19th century. Barnum followed one rule: we have something for everyone. He understood, if you give the crowd a huge, blurry mirror, everyone will see themselves in it. If you tell the truth, you will attract one. If you tell a beautiful, common nonsense, you will attract millions. 70 years have passed, but our brain has not changed one bit. We still fall for this hook. Now I will show you the code of this hack. Let's analyze the anatomy of a phrase that makes you believe any nonsense. Why does this work even on skeptics? Because our brain is an obsessed pattern-searching machine. For thousands of years, those who could see the outlines of a predator in the chaotic movement of grass survived. It is vital for us to find meaning in the noise. This process is called subjective validation. When you hear the phrase, "you have an undiscovered talent," your brain does not analyze it logically. It instantly scans your memory. Oh, I drew well in the 3rd grade, or yesterday I joked successfully. You build bridges yourself where there are none. But the most interesting thing is how we filter information. In psychology, this is called selective perception. If 2 out of 10 phrases are off, you simply won't notice them. The brain will throw them in the trash as white noise. But those three phrases that coincided will swell to the scale of a universal revelation. A fortune teller can be wrong 5 times, but if she guesses the pain in the knee, she is a prophet. The second lever is the desire to believe in the good. This is called the Pollyanna principle. We are more likely to accept the positive than the negative. If I say you are lazy, you will close. But pack it in Barnum style, you are critical of yourself and spend energy on details and you will nod. We want to feel complex and misunderstood. Barnum's phrases give us this feeling of being chosen without any effort. This is the perfect cocktail for manipulation. In the next block, we will dissect the language of magicians and analyze 3 types of phrases that see through your soul. The most popular technique is the pendulum phrase. It describes both poles of behavior at the same time. Example, in a company you happen to be the soul of the collective, but in the depths of your soul you need solitude to restore your strength. Sounds deep? This is a description of any healthy person. The manipulator simply connects the extremes with the word, but you fall into this range in 100% of cases. The second element is flattery disguised as analysis. No one wants to hear that they are mediocre. We want to hear that we are raw diamonds. Example, you have a huge internal potential that you have not realized due to external circumstances. This phrase is the perfect drug. It simultaneously makes a compliment and gives an excuse for failures. You instantly feel sympathy for the person who said this, because he saw in you what others do not notice. The third layer is safe fears. There are things that everyone is afraid of: betrayal, public humiliation, or loss of meaning. Example, one of your main fears is that people will see your vulnerability behind a mask of confidence. Bingo, show me a person who is not afraid to appear weak. But when it is said in a quiet voice, an illusion of intimacy is created. Let's practice. Take a simple fact. People sometimes get tired at work. Sounds boring, right? Now, through the Barnum filter, I feel like you are carrying a burden on your shoulders that does not belong to you. You give more energy to work than you receive in return. Feel the difference? The meaning is the same, but the trust is immense. Have you ever wondered why a newspaper horoscope and a tarot reading on YouTube hit the mark equally well? The secret is scalability. Horoscopes are written so they cannot be refuted. They promise financial changes. Both finding a coin on the road and an electricity bill are changes. But the magic truly begins in a personal consultation. This is where Barnum's heavy artillery comes into play: cold reading. Cold reading is a set of techniques that create the illusion that a medium knows everything about you, even though they are seeing you for the first time. The first rule: shotgunning. The medium throws out a general phrase. I see someone in your circle whose name starts with M or A. Each of us has some Andrew or Marina with whom things are complicated. You nod, and the target is hit. Then he simply spins your answer using your own reactions, dilated pupils, or the tilt of your head. The spirit says you are keeping an item associated with him. Almost everyone has a ring, a photo, or an old jacket. This is not magic, it is statistics. Under the sauce of mysticism and under stress, our brain turns off critical thinking. We ignore 50 misses for the sake of one hit. Was your name Ivan? No, but when he guesses, you loved walking in the park, you fall into ecstasy. He is a prophet. You can have a PhD, but the Barnum effect is stronger. It hits the base, the need to be understood and to shed responsibility. Modern technologies use this to get into your pocket. Personality typologies are the new horoscopes for intellectuals. Admit it, you also took a personality type test, or which Game of Thrones character are you? It is vital for us to feel belonging to a group. When the system says your MBTI type is INTJ, a dopamine release happens inside. We get a legitimate explanation for our quirks. I'm not just a bore, I'm an analyst, but read the description carefully and you will see good old Barnum. There are those phrases again: you value logic but you are not devoid of emotions, or you strive for order but allow chaos. These are prestigious labels. The problem with such systems is that they are non-falsifiable. This means the theory cannot be scientifically refuted. If it didn't fit, they will tell you you are not living your design yet, or you have a distorted self-esteem. If it matched, the system works. If not, it is your fault. In the end, it is a complex superstructure of terms that is no more accurate than a coin toss, but looks like higher knowledge. But the most dangerous thing is the Rosenthal effect. Having read that you are a closed introvert, you subconsciously begin to behave exactly like that. You turn down a party not because you are tired, but because I am an introvert, I am supposed to stay home. The description turns into a cage. We fit our living personality into a cardboard template written by marketers. Remember, any typology is not a map of your soul. It is just a set of phrases in which you chose the ones you liked. But Barnum lives not only in tests, he is in your smartphones, which you look at for 5 hours a day. Social media algorithms use this effect to make you feel special while they sell your data. Have you ever felt a pleasant warmth when Spotify sends a playlist made for you, or Netflix says, 98% match? This is Digital Barnum. Algorithms analyze data, but the magic happens in the interface. When a service calls a selection by your name, the brain whispers, "They understand me." In fact, 50 million other people are listening to this playlist. But the phrase "specially for you" makes you a VIP client in a regular supermarket. Go to any landing page for self-development courses, you will see classic Barnum hooks in the headlines. You deserve more, tired of living by the rules. This is not an insight into your life. These are universal pains. Who among us doesn't feel this? A copywriter simply throws a mirror net over you. You trust the product because the author allegedly read your thoughts. Millionaire bloggers love the Barnum effect. They project an image of being just like you. Guys, today I also feel weak. This controlled vulnerability is the perfect bait. Sometimes you are strong, but sometimes you are sad. The viewer thinks, my God, we are so much alike. And that's it. The critical filter is removed. Now anything can be sold to you, from a checklist to crypto. You are not buying a product, but your own reflection. In a world of information excess, the most expensive commodity is attention. And the easiest way to attract it is to talk to a person about themselves. The problem is that when Barnum becomes the foundation of a worldview, you lose touch with reality. In the next block, we will break down how this innocent psychological trick ruins lives. It would seem, what is wrong with a good forecast? The problem is that the Barnum effect works like anesthesia for your critical thinking. It is like a hole in a ship's hull. First, harmless astrology leaks in, followed by destructive cults and financial pyramids. If someone has convinced you that they see your soul through a smartphone, they will convince you to give up your savings for spiritual growth. Look at cult leaders. They don't speak with facts. They say, I feel there are those among you who are tired of the grayness. You are here because your intuition told you. This is your chance. They create the illusion of a deep connection. A person in trouble hears the answer to their request. Barnum forces the victim to complete the image of the savior themselves. The second danger is degradation through the removal of responsibility. When we accept a label, we stop working on ourselves. I yelled at a colleague, well, I'm a Scorpio, I have debts, it's Mercury in retrograde. We use phrases as a shield from reality. This is a dead end. We voluntarily give up control over our lives to external forces that we ourselves invented. The Barnum effect makes us predictable. We turn into targets for those who know how to juggle words. But how to maintain clarity of mind? To protect yourself, you need to know the lethality factors. It is time to turn on the red alert button. The first factor is authority. In psychology, this is called the halo effect. You will perceive the exact same phrase from a neighbor and from a guru completely differently. When we see regalia, complex terms, or an official suit, our brain enters energy-saving mode. We delegate fact-checking to the specialist. Remember Fourier's experiment? The students believed him precisely because he was their professor. Status is more important than content. If the source seems expert, we subconsciously look for ways to confirm their words, not to refute them. We don't believe the text, we believe the status of the person who says it. This is the first breach in our defense. The second factor is the illusion of an individual approach. This is the strongest trigger. Experiments have shown that accuracy in a person's eyes increases significantly if they are told the description is based on their birth date, blood type, or a palm scan. The mere fact that you provided your data creates a magical connection. You have, in a sense, paid for this prediction with your information, and now your brain is obliged to find meaning in it to justify the spent time and trust. This is exactly why survey sites torture you with questions for so long before giving a result. The more effort you put in, the more you will believe in the resulting nonsense. The brain simply cannot admit that you wasted 20 minutes of your life filling out this form. The third factor is the emphasis on positivity. We are biological optimists when it comes to ourselves. The Barnum effect works perfectly at a ratio of 5-to-1. If I say you are greedy and lazy, you will be outraged. But if I say you know how to save resources and value your peace, you will answer, "Oh yes, that is about me." We tend to accept flattering characteristics as objective truth and any criticism as an unfortunate mistake or bias. Manipulators know this. They feed you the bitter pill of general phrases wrapped in a thick layer of sweet compliments about your uniqueness. Authority, individuality, and positivity. These three factors are the access code to your trust. Now you know how they work. It is time to learn to defend yourself. Authority, personal data, and flattery are three keys that open any door. If you see all three at once, run. Before you is a classic trap. It looks like an invitation, but it is actually a snare for your critical thinking. But how exactly do you slap the manipulator's hands? In the next block, I will give you a specific checklist of 3 questions. This is your personal Barnum Detector, which will save you years of life and a lot of money. So you hear something incredibly accurate about yourself? Stop. The first and most effective filter is the neighbor test. Would the phrase "sometimes you feel misunderstood" fit your stern boss? Yes. An emotional sister? Also yes. If the description fits anyone within a mile, it is not a revelation, it is Barnum. Remember, a true psychological portrait should distinguish you from the crowd, not dissolve you in it. The second question in your checklist: where is the meat? Manipulators adore adjectives and epithets: deep, sensitive, ambitious. Compare, you are prone to creativity, or last Thursday at 2:15 p.m. you bought watercolors. Barnum will never be that specific because facts are easy to miss. If there are no dates, names, exact amounts, or specific events in the text, you are looking at linguistic fog. The third and most important question: why are they telling me this? If the horoscope is free, advertisers have already paid for your attention. If a coach says they see a hidden leader in you, they are simply preparing the ground to sell a $2,000 course. Understand one simple thing: understanding your soul is the key to your safe. If a stranger is picking the locks to your soul, they want to go inside. Ask yourself, are they trying to sell me something through this understanding? If the answer is yes, close the tab. Real help begins with an analysis of your problems, not by guessing your traits. Do not confuse a magician with a doctor. 3 questions: does this fit the neighbor? Are there facts? And what do they want to sell me? If you pass information through this filter, 90% of the mages and gurus will turn into ordinary sellers of thin air. But does this mean everything around us is a lie? Not quite. The Barnum effect has a bright side that is rarely talked about. In the next block, we will discuss how to turn this brain weakness to your advantage, how to make Barnum work for you. Does all this mean you need to burn all astrology books and delete social media? Don't rush. Barnum has a bright side: the placebo effect. Sometimes we desperately need to hear that we are strong and that we will handle everything. When you read something positive, the brain lowers the stress level. If a Barnum phrase gives you the resource to get off the couch and go to an interview, let it work. It is a vitamin, not an instruction manual. Tarot cards or tests can be a great tool for self-reflection, but not because they predict the future. You pull a card and think, oh, this is about my relationship with my mother, but the card said nothing about your mother. It became a trigger for your own thoughts. It is a way to talk to yourself through a mediator. The main thing is to tell yourself, it wasn't the card that suggested it, I found this answer in myself. Sometimes Barnum is a way to find your people. Discussing zodiac signs is a safe topic to start a conversation and open up faster. The problem starts when the tool replaces reality, when you see not a person but only a typical Capricorn. Use Barnum as a spice, but do not make it the main dish. Any system of self-knowledge is just a reason to think about yourself. The question is, who is the master, you or a phrase from the internet? We have reached the finale. It remains to draw the line and understand how to live in a world where everyone wants to see right through you. Moving on to the final conclusions. It is time to draw the line. We are used to believing that the world is full of mysteries and those who see through us possess a sacred gift. But now you know the truth. Magic is not stars or cards, it is just linguistics that knows psychology well. You are the main co-author of every prediction. This is your strength, but it is also your main vulnerability. You yourself fill empty words with the meaning of your life. Today, we broke the code of brain hacking. The best way to reinforce the lesson is to bring it to light. Remember a guru phrase you believed in, write it in the comments. Let's build a collection of these golden hooks together. Your stories will help others not to fall into the same trap. Do not let general phrases define who you are. You are much more complex, deeper, and more unpredictable than any template. My name is the Cryptic Cognition. Be careful about what you let into your head. See you in the next videos. Goodbye.